Well, the game is over, and the Sacramento Kings season is over. The final of 120 to 106, maybe the worst second quarter that we've seen this year, particularly a quarter in a game of this magnitude. It was inexcusable, but I'll just summarize it this way, Ryno. And I don't mean to bag on Doug Christie. He was so thoroughly outcoached tonight in every aspect of this game. The difference in preparation, game plans, and adjustments were so apparent to me, and the Kings players just got manhandled in this game. Plain and simple, they got manhandled.
Yeah, I'm not an NBA coach, but the first visible adjustment that I saw, Grant, was at 8:57 in the fourth quarter when he inserted Doug McDermott. That was the first visible adjustment. And to your point about the second quarter, what have we talked about all season? It's been turnovers out of timeouts, bad plays out of timeouts. Yep. The Kings start that second quarter with a turnover. In fact, in their first 6 possessions, 3 of them, no buckets. They set them off. They set the Mavs off to the races, Napes.
The Mavs did what they wanted. The Mavs didn't even have to play in the fourth quarter. The game was over, and they were playing very they were on tippy toes, so to speak, or else this game, the final score doesn't even indicate how big of a blowout this game was.
No.
I mean, this game was over a long time ago, and the Kings never, not one time, Ryan, not once in the second half, did they ever make a real threat. They cut it to 16 once or twice, but then they would make a bad offensive shot, a bad possession, turnover. I thought one thing that really hurt this team in trying to get back into this game, they got into the penalty very early in the third quarter, and it's almost impossible to make a comeback when the other team's going to the free throws on what are non-shooting fouls. The Kings, with over 6 minutes left to go in the third quarter, were already in the penalty. You can't come back from the big deficit when you do that.
Yeah, Keon Ellis, 4th foul in the first minute of the third quarter. He only plays 44 seconds that quarter. Grant, it was completely unbalanced. It was the DeMar DeRozan show, which is great. DeMar puts up 33 points, but what comes with that is a slow pace, no ball movement, and really just basic basketball. It's 1-on-5, unfortunately, and Doug didn't do anything to get the guys into different sets.
Nothing. No. Zach LaVine was terrible. Sabonis was manhandled. You don't have Malik Monk, although he looked like he was having a good time on the bench laughing and stuff when the Kings are getting blown out. And again, I probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah,
I know Malik feels bad. It just looks bad. You know what I mean? It looks bad when they have a shot of him. I'm a big Malik Monk fan. I think he's been great for the franchise. And I know it kills him not to play in a game like this, but it just doesn't look good, that type of reaction on the bench when the camera shows both him and LaRavia sitting next to each other.
I don't disagree with you, but also that's who Malik Monk is throughout the season.
You're right.
You catch those glimpses of him in low times. He's been the yin to the King's yang when things are bad. So I understand.
And I'm a big fan of Malik. I'm just saying everything about this game looked bad. But the Kings, first of all, I want to give Dallas credit. They came in prepared with a tremendous game plan, and they executed their game plan, and they attacked the Kings' weaknesses, and they exploited the Kings' weaknesses. Ryno, they knew they had the advantage down low. They knew that they could get into the paint. They knew they could stop the Kings in the paint. And you know what? I give them credit. They implemented a perfect game plan.
Yeah, they did a great job of that. And I think the Kings, for the first quarter, we talked about them guarding Davis for the first half of that pretty well. And then they went back to Kings things, Grant. They opened up the Mavs. They doubled Davis, which they didn't need to do. And Dallas was more than ready for that. I mean, the second you start giving up the dribble penetration the way the Kings were, good night, Lob City. Forget about it.
So here's what I want to get into on the show, and I appreciate all the folks that have already called in. We're going to get to you. We'll stay on all night if we have to. I don't care.
Speak for yourself. I'm just kidding.
Because I want to talk about the game. I want to talk about the season, but I also want to talk about the future, which we'll do on subsequent shows as well.
Yeah.
Do you start from scratch? First of all, there's no way Monte McNair can come back, in my opinion. There's no way Doug Christie can come back, in my opinion. Tonight showed the vulnerabilities of an inexperienced coach. I'm sorry. It was there on full display for everyone. And you can't just say, well, no, you got to go in a different direction. That's my opinion.
Immediately?
Immediately, like tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
What are you waiting for?
I'm with you there, 100%. And I think you've got to get that new regime, whatever it's going to be, whoever it's going to be, in there as quickly as possible. But that opens the next conversation, Grant. Do you even have a great pool of candidates because of the situation with ownership that's been reported?
Not great candidates, but candidates, yes. And there are people that want jobs, need jobs. And so let the process begin. Want to get to some calls?
Yeah, let's see. You do have a G League championship coach and GM right below you in your own organization. Just saying. Uh, let's let Sean kick it off tonight. Sean, what's going on?
Hey Grant, hey Brian. I still think that Malik, I know that's the type of guy he is, but I think in like a playoff type atmosphere, I thought that was just a bad look. Um, but like you said, that's his character.
And it's not why
I
the Kings
think
lost too. So let's also point that out. Him having a moment where somebody must have made a funny joke, and we really appreciate the super chat
right,
donation. That is so nice of you. Thank you very much. Thanks,
Thank you,
Kings fans.
Wolfie.
Grant, Ryan, you're the best. Thank you. But let's not blow this out of proportion. Yeah, it's not a good look, but that's not why the Kings lost the game. Okay, so let's stay
right,
on point. I'm the one. I got my hand in the air. I started it, so I'll end it right here. Let's get off Malik's case. It was a bad look. I agree with you, but that's
yeah,
not why the Kings lost. And I probably shouldn't have mentioned it, but I did. It's out there. But let's not make too much out of this.
right. I'm trying to look at positives. I can't see a lot of positives. They definitely have to get rid of McNair. I know with Doug's relationship with Vivek, he'll probably still stay, whether it be a consultant role or maybe back to
And I'm fine with
assistant.
that. I'm not saying kick him out of the
Um,
organization. I'm just saying he's not a head coach. And I've been saying that all year. It's time to make a move and get a legitimate head coach in here. I'm not saying like Doug kick him to the curb. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah, Sean, Sean, really quick.
uh,
Here's the positive. There's not fool's gold to hang on to. If the Kings would have won this game and let's say went into Memphis and won that game, and then you get blown out by Oklahoma City, or maybe you win one playoff game. Now
Yep.
you're thinking like, okay, maybe
right,
Doug can do this. Maybe Monty it was a bad year. Guys jump ship. No, you got it right.
right.
You got it right
Well,
in front of you right now.
yeah, there's one good thing about that is we don't have to travel to Memphis now. That place is a dump.
That's very true. All right. Thanks for the call.
Oh, poor
Well, I
Memphis
can't argue with that. It
getting
is a dump, but
from
but
you
yeah,
too.
it's a horrible. But anyway, what a disaster. What an absolute disaster.
Yeah, we appreciate all the calls. We'll get to every single one of you. Same thing with the chats. We will get to as many as possible. Supers come up different on our screen, which is why they get priority. So thank you very much for that. Brian, what's going on tonight?
Hey, Grant. Hey, Ryan. I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. You want to talk about coaching? I was a supporter of Mike Brown, and I didn't want it to happen. But what's Doug Christie supposed to do with a team with no point guard? What's Doug
Well, at
Christie
least
supposed to
compete.
do with a Zach LaVine who
Who was
can't make a
Dallas's point
simple
guard? Who was
pass?
Dallas's point guard?
I'm just saying. Look at
I
Zach.
know, but
I
I'm
mean,
just saying who was Dallas's
It's a
point guard?
great point.
I understand what you're saying, Grant, and I agree with you. I'm just saying, look at the chaos of the season. I mean, Fox he handcuffed our season. He gave up on our team. His attitude reminded me of Malik's when I'm not going to go over it because you already said don't go over it. Kobe would have never, Mitch would have never, Jordan would have never. Let's just keep it at that. But Doug didn't make adjustments. I agree. I don't think he should have played. I would have liked to see us match up bigger. And you got to run Jonas, Valanciunas, maybe instead of Keegan more to give us some size with Sabonis, something, because we were just getting manhandled. But I mean, you look at Zach LaVine and the contract that any coach that inherits this team is going to get, and what he's doing out there, turning the ball over the way he can't even make a simple pass. He looks like he's in La La Land. This isn't new. So I don't know what I mean, was Devin Carter supposed to carry us to success as a point guard? Was Zach LaVine turning it over 6 times a game? I mean, come on.
Okay, so Fox is not the reason for the lost season. Fox is the reason you lost the Detroit game. He quit on the team on that final play. Okay. Fox did not have to be traded. You did not have to trade De'Aaron Fox. You had a sample size in front of you that said this team actually has some chemistry when he's not on the court, more chemistry than this team ultimately had. And you rushed, you downgraded to a degree. You traded speed and ball handling for shooting, and you put yourself in the exact same position with Zach LaVine, and now a bad contract. Fox's contract wasn't bad. LaVine's is bad.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let another caller get to it.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for the call. Ryno, indulge in me for a moment. I'm going to do my rant right now.
Please.
A rant with Grant brought to you by EDH Motors Automotive Reimagined. If you're looking to sell a vehicle, David and Adam, 2 guys trying to do something different and better, give them a call. If you're looking to purchase a vehicle, go to their website and you will see everything that they have for you. And if you don't see what you want, no problem. They'll get it for you. That's what they do. You'll take delivery at the beautiful Auto Lounge at the El Dorado Hills Town Center. Go to edhmotors.com or the information on your screen. That's edhmotors.com. El Dorado Hills Motors, EDH Motors, Automotive Reimagined. Let's stop beating around the bush here. The Sacramento Kings just completed a failed season. Failure with a big fat F. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The season was a failure. If you want to give them a D, that's for disaster. All right. So you're either giving me an F for a failure, or if you're kind of a kind teacher and you don't like failing people, it would be a D as a disaster. The Sacramento Kings, for the second year in a row, are not going to the playoffs. And this year was even worse because you didn't even win half your games. You lost more than half your games at home. There is no home court advantage in Sacramento. And tonight you were outcoached, outclassed, outplayed. You were out everything. The game was over before halftime. In a single elimination game, and you're not even in the game at halftime. It was 71-48 at intermission. A microcosm of this disastrous, failed season. There need to be changes. Too bad you can't change the owner, because that's what really needs to happen to this franchise. But the GM has had plenty of time. It's failed. 2 non-playoff appearances back-to-back. Failure. Doug Christie, interim coach. You know what? I'm not giving him an F. I'm not giving him an F. He did some good things, but he's clearly not ready to take this team and move forward as your experienced NBA coach. You could see it tonight. I mean, it was like the varsity against the JV when it comes to coaching. It was. It was right there for the nation to see. It was a varsity JV game. Jason Kidd, Doug Christie. No freaking contest. Where do you go from here? What do you do now? Do you have any optimism going into next year? When you look at Zach LaVine's contract, does Sabonis want to stay? Is he going to want to leave? You still don't have a point guard. Probably not going to have your first-round draft pick. What do you do now? Where do you go from here? 40 wins, 42 losses, awful at home, blowout at home against a Dallas team that came in limping. They had been playing awful basketball, horrible, and they came in and kicked your butt. They embarrassed you. You weren't even ready to play. The game was over at halftime. 71-48 at halftime. Are you kidding me? 48 points at halftime. Failed season. F. Don't come on here tonight and say it wasn't a failed season. This was a failed season. And you know who the happiest guy in Northern California is right now? Mike Brown. Mike's got a nice glass of red wine, kicking back, talking to his accountant, going, man, I got killed in taxes this year. And the accountant said, yeah, Mike, that's because you make a ton of money. By the way, Mike, you're not working. Have another bottle of wine. You're doing just fine. The bank thanks you. I thank you. You got a lot of money, Mike. No stress for Mike Brown. What will be the next horrible decision by Vivek Ranadive. You know what's coming. Wait and see. Failed season, everybody. Failed season. That's my rant for tonight.
Cannot win with him. Cannot coach with him. Can't do it.
Your Mike Brown part at the end. You're killing me, partner. You know the one thing that I would add on? Dallas, also a team in turmoil. GM under fire. Not exactly a clean house. Just had this weird press interaction that was kind of a conference, kind of a not. And undisturbed, focused basketball team.
Focused like you can't believe. Focused.
Laser. All right. Keep trying to call. Our room is full. As soon as somebody drops off, you will have a chance to get back on. Dirk, you're up next.
A great rant, Grant.
Thank you.
In fact, I wanted to start positive and say you've really impressed me all year. I think you called this season pretty much to the T about just about everything that's gone down this year. Everything except 40 wins. But
yep.
I'm very impressed, Grant. Like you got a lot more credibility in my eyes for what it's worth.
Well, I appreciate you being a fan of the show. I appreciate your support and appreciate your comments.
I'm going to start this out by saying Sabonis gave one of his classic postseason awful games. And he should not be let off the hook for how bad he was tonight. The 5 turnovers, the total ineffectiveness against size. When people were talking about Dallas like we were going to roll through them, it's like they forgot that these guys have twin towers. And why we didn't go with this double big lineup or even give it a shot, I have no idea. Doug Christie had nothing up his sleeve. And I think that's the biggest crime of all of this. He needed to find a new angle. Did we ever have a situation where DeMar and Zach weren't on the floor at the same time, or at least one of them were on the floor? I would have loved to have thrown some more high intensity defense. Like, I think those 2 guys on the floor, you're never going to get that. But there was nothing new all night. It was the same stalled offense. If these guys aren't making 60 to 70% of their shots, we're not winning games. And there was just nothing interesting about what we were doing tonight.
And Doug made a desperate challenge tonight on a call that wasn't even really close. It was like it was just the wrong time for that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that back foot moving, but you guys should know the rules well enough to say, okay, I mean, whether or not that's a good choice, it wouldn't have mattered anyway in the grand scheme. But I see it's a fair criticism. I'm hoping somehow we pull the pick, but this team never was going anywhere. It's probably best to pull the Band-Aid now. It's a sad state of feeling about the franchise, but the sooner it's over, the sooner we can move forward to whatever the future holds. So.
No doubt. Thanks, Dirk. Appreciate the call. Dirk brings up a really good point about Valanciunas and Sabonis, Grant. They played like maybe a minute or 2 together. You had been playing Isaac Jones down the stretch, a lot of athleticism on the floor. What's the use, or why not throw him out there for a couple minutes? Just unfortunately nothing. Just rolling.
No adjustments, no anything during the course of the game. The other aspect of tonight's game that really jumped out at me, and we talked about this last year, Ryan, when they played the Pelicans and lost. Comparatively speaking now, the Kings are an unathletic team. They just don't have as good as DeRozan is, and he was very good tonight, and he was the only reason why the Kings were hanging around. But they're just and again, I'm comparatively speaking to the Houston Rockets of the world, right? And they lack athleticism.
Yeah, but I would also say you're asking players to do things that are out of their wheelhouse, which sometimes is going to make them look unathletic at times. You've got DeMar DeRozan running point. You've got Sabonis running point, Levine running point. You've been screaming for a point guard for how long?
A couple of years.
A couple years. So they weren't put in the best situations to succeed either. And I could understand the frustration on the players' behalfs when it comes to that. Fox MVP, what is up? Not there, Fox. You are
again, out. I'm putting up the super chat donations. Bruce, Matthew, thank you very much.
Yep.
We really appreciate that. thank you very much for your support and your contributions. We greatly appreciate that. I said it before the game, fire Doug on the spot if he doesn't play. JV, 15 minutes. Plus, I love Ryan's court, love the chat, love Jerry. With that said, F of F, Monty, goodbye and good riddance. Well, I think a lot of people probably feel the way you do tonight. And thank you very much again, Bruce, for this. Is there a reasonable scenario where Vivek sells the Kings in the next 5 years? Thanks for the great job this season, Grant, Ryno, and Jerry. Well, 5 years is a long time, but I would say it's highly unlikely.
Yeah. What would force something other than the fans, Grant?
The only thing that would force it is for the fans to completely stop supporting the Kings. And you know me, I've said this before, I'm never going to advocate for that. That's up to the fans. That's not up to me to tell the fans what to do. But if the fans basically boycotted and stopped going to the games or made it unpleasant when the owner was in the building, maybe. But I would never advocate that. You know me, I don't do that.
100%. Ralph, thanks for waiting.
Hey,
Ralph.
Hey guys. I think one of the things you guys mentioned was with Isaac Jones and just running another big. I know he's coming off, the success with the G League, but just to match the athleticism, were you surprised to not even see him run a minute? I would have liked to see him. Whether I know JV only played a minute with Sabonis, but Isaac Jones can match the big speeds of Dallas.
Couldn't have been any worse.
Yeah. Grant, how many times down the stretch have you said, well, Valanciunas only played 7 minutes, played 10 minutes tonight, Grant and Ralph?
I don't understand it, because when he came over, when they acquired him, he gave this team a nice lift. He gave them a real spark. And then it seemed like over the last several weeks, he wasn't part of Doug's plan.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. The other one I wanted to ask was really just playmaking, and I know we're short on options. This is me reaching. What about like Fultz getting playmaking? Because some opportunities to play make, or is just not an option at this point?
Fultz was not being a playmaker when he came in. He was looking for a lot of his own shots. Defense was okay, but he wasn't setting guys up. I mean, you truly, Grant, didn't have. Can you think of a playmaker that was sitting on the bench that didn't play tonight?
Nope.
Yeah. It's tough position to be in without Malik Monk, because you look back at the March 3rd game between Dallas and the Kings and everything was downhill. It was pick and roll. Jerry was on my show earlier today and we talked about that. How can you get guys going downhill? And the Kings just could not do it for their lives tonight. With
Clay getting hot, do you think that's more of the actions that the Mavs are running? Or are we going to, I think Doug was that's why he benched Ellis for a bit, with him falling asleep on those 4 straight plays and getting it. And I know that's big shot making, but
I wouldn't say he fell asleep. I mean, Klay Thompson's one of the very best players in the league of moving without the ball and using screens to free up. And he has such a quick release. I don't really fault Keon Ellis. There was one play that I did fault the Kings, and it was when Devin Carter was trying to guard Klay. And the Kings inexplicably put two men on Klay on a screen situation when he didn't have the ball, and the guy with the ball, I forget who it was, drove right down the lane for an easy basket. But sometimes you just got to tip your hat to your opponent.
Yeah, and Keon's one of the trickiest guys to screen in the league, but you've got tall, athletic guys out there, and I think Keon is used to being able to get through gaps. There was a play where it looked like he went under. So his body of work to me outweighs faulting him for 4 straight plays.
And I thought Klay turned the whole game around, to be honest with you.
No doubt. That crazy bounce with his first one, Grant, and then it was just gone.
Yeah. It was the complete opposite of last year's playing. One point about the future would be definitely, I feel like we have a lot of we have some winning players, and we have a lot of players that just don't fit. It'll be sad because I think we're going to have to dangle. Monk has a great value contract. Ellis and Keegan Murray. I think those would be some guys that want to stick around. The rest can go. I feel like they have decent contracts and they can be part of a winning team. But obviously the guys that we have just don't fit. But I feel like a lot of them are going to end up letting go, whether it's Jake LaRavia's contract situation too. It's just that's what's so frustrating. There's no easy answer to what's going to happen next.
Yep.
Thank you for the call. We appreciate you joining us.
Let's you ready for this one? You know this guy's gonna elevate the basketball conversation.
Oh, I'm in. Okay.
Oh, yes. How are you? Hi.
Now, my question just popped up in my mind. So, do you think we did better with Monk benched? Well, actually injured. Do you think we did better without Monk? Because
No.
I think we didn't. Because we just need a shooter, a big time shooter, and
You
Monk
don't.
is that.
Yeah. First of all, it's so nice that you take the time to call the show. You don't get better when a guy who is one of the leading candidates for 6th man of the year in the past, not this year because he started, and who can score 30 points on any given night and 15 in a quarter like that. You don't get better when you don't have a player like that on the floor. So no, you're 100% correct.
And it completely takes away the second element of your offense, which is the
Correct.
pick and roll.
Yep.
You just can't do it. You don't have the players to do it.
I could tell. I could see.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I appreciate you taking the time to call the show, and thank you for your support this year, okay? Thank you.
Mhm.
You take care.
Good night, guys. Oh yeah,
night.
and well, I'm just gonna say this. This is gonna be the final light the beam, even though it's not time to light the beam. Light the beam.
All right.
All right,
There you
fair
go.
enough. Might as well
Love the
get one
attitude.
more
Love the
off.
spirit.
Absolutely. You got to balance it out. See? You got to balance out the downness with the upness. Jay, how about that championship, buddy?
I meant Stockton, guys. At the beginning of the season. Yeah. You guys thought I meant Sacramento? What?
Yeah.
You know,
What's up, dude?
Well, how are you guys doing?
Hanging in there, buddy.
I saw you earlier, I think last week, Ryno. I haven't saw Grant in a while. So it's nice to see you, Grant.
You too, buddy.
You know, I don't know when the last time I spoke to Grant was, but I told you guys, well, Ryno knows I pulled out of the arms race or the playoff race maybe with 14, 15 games left. I was maybe around 12 games left. I knew that, you know, like I say all the time, the longevity and the future of this franchise is what matters to me as a real fan. And there's none of that with aging guys. And you're trying to put pieces of the puzzle together with no puzzle maker. Like you have no coach, and then you're trying to put all these pieces together. It's kind of like you're preparing for the worst, or you're not preparing for the worst. In other words, we see what the front office thinks, right, and the ownership thinks. They think that we have something here. I don't think we have anything here. Just with what went on in the season, there's a lot of dysfunction. You know, starting with Mike Brown being fired and let go. The whole situation. It's tough. There's no future here, so they're trying to scramble together. Oh, let's go ahead and make these trades. Let's go ahead and do this, that, and the third, and save the season because playoffs make money, or whatever the reason may be. I know, Grant, you're not really big on picks, but when
Well,
you're in
I'm big on them if you take the right guy.
okay, fair enough. We're not a franchise to just, we talked about this all the time. We're not really going to get that big guy in free agency. Most of the time, those teams don't even do that well. Who tend to go out and get big contracts in free agency, building through the draft, especially for a small market team like Sacramento, compared to obviously bigger markets like even Dallas is a much bigger market. You have to build through the draft, and we're going to potentially lose that valuable asset this year. And that's tough pill to swallow for me as a fan
Yeah.
because we see these teams like Houston, OKC. These teams have young guys that are showing potential and getting time to develop.
Jay,
And
the Kings are in no man's land. That's where they're at right now.
yeah,
They can't get a good player in the draft. I mean, unless they get very lucky, and they're not good enough to compete. They're in no man's land.
And isn't it kind of a time where the Western Conference is shifting? Like we're seeing Oklahoma City, they're going to be the class for a little bit, but Denver, are they going to be in flux? Lakers with their age, what's that going to look like? This was kind of the time to jump back into the fray. San Antonio isn't going to be down again when you have
exactly.
That's healthy.
You think about it, and you look at this Western Conference. We kind of got lucky to be the 9th and 10th seed. You take a healthy Dallas Mavericks team, they're going to be a top 8 seed. You look at the Spurs, when they're going to be fully healthy, they're going to be better than the Kings, I believe, next year. I don't think we're going to even be in the play-in conversation next year.
Well, tonight
with this same team.
tonight was not a good argument to have the play-in
Yeah,
whatsoever between the two
no,
games.
it was not. Hey, two things. The super chat. There is no chance that Michael Malone would come to Sacramento. He hates Vivek, so that's
Absolutely,
never happening.
absolutely not. Yeah, he would.
And
No.
for those of you that are talking about Vladdy being an advisor to Vivek, Vladdy is not an advisor to Vivek. So I don't know why anybody would think that.
No,
And thank you for the chat.
Anjali's
Wait a
the
minute.
advisor.
I'm just saying, not you. I'm saying that to people on the chat. Thank you for the super chat donation. But Vladdy is not an advisor to Vivek. So I don't know why people think that. But go ahead, Jay.
Oh no, I was making a joke. His daughter is the advisor because he's always said,
Yeah,
"Thank
you know
for
what?
the-" Yeah.
Well,
So-
save it for another show.
yeah, we understand it's very dysfunctional.
The owner
and-
gave his daughter public credit
Oh
for
my God.
setting the path to the Stockton Kings championship. So
Embarrassing.
let's leave it at that. So go ahead.
It's embarrassing.
No, I
Jay?
figured that's what it was. I did. Yeah, go ahead. I know you guys have tons of calls, but
No,
Kings
Jay,
fans.
I just want to say, man, I've really appreciated all of your input this season. We're going to be doing tons of shows, getting ready for the draft and everything else. So, man, I hope you don't just like go away until next season.
No.
We really enjoyed
I'll be here
chatting
and
with you this year.
well to hopefully talk about our second round draft pick this year. So
hey, you never know, buddy.
Hey, we got
All
exit interviews first. So
Yeah.
I don't, dude.
Take care.
All right.
Okay. Who knows?
I wouldn't let Monty McNair do the exit interviews. I'd fire him tonight or tomorrow. And I'm sorry, I wouldn't do it.
Do you have to? Okay, so here's the question then. If you fire Monty McNair tonight, don't you need to fire Doug Christie tonight too?
Yes. If you're going to fire one, you have to fire both. And I don't think you're firing Doug. I don't think that's the right word to use for Doug. Doug was given the interim title. All right. He doesn't have a contract past tonight in terms of what his role with the team was, which was an assistant coach. So you're not firing Doug. You're firing Monty, but you're just saying, Doug, we're going in a different direction. We're not going to give you the head coaching job, but you need to discuss with him a role in the organization. But you're not, I don't want to use the term firing Doug. I don't think that's the right term here.
Great clarification. We are going to seek the services of a new head coach, something along those lines. Well done. Chang, thanks for waiting.
Hey guys. So yeah, I do think I agree with you guys. I expect, changes in the front office and changes with the coach. But I'm just curious from your both opinion, what is your perspective on Sabonis? He had a really poor game. Do you still feel like he is a cornerstone of our franchise? Is he someone you still want to build around? Was this just a bad game? Because, just reading the chat, I think everyone's already bringing out all the issues with, building around Sabonis. Is it just too much and we have to move on? Or I'm just curious from your guys' perspective.
Well, he is a guy that has to have a point guard to be really effective, in my opinion, and the Kings haven't done that.
And they haven't done Sabonis any favors by putting him in that position without any true point guard, because bringing him into Sacramento, Chang, it's like, okay, maybe he can play a little bit of this Jokic game. Clearly he can't. He's a pick and roll guy. He's a grinder inside that's going to play most games and be the toughest dude on your team. So with his contract at $47 million, it'll be interesting to see how teams value that.
All right. Thanks, guys. And again, thanks for, putting up with this season. I think everyone is very tired, but again, I agree with you,
Yeah.
Ryan. I think the only positive is them being embarrassed, and it just means that we can't run it back. So hopefully things are changing.
Thank you. And again, I want to point this out. We have tons of content every day, and we're going to be going every day through the off season. We don't have an off season here on if you don't like that.
No.
So subscribe to the channel, please, because we're going to be having all kinds of shows between now and the start of training camp on a variety of topics. And so please follow us during the off season, because we don't have an off season here.
No, in the Kings Court, my show is daily here on the channel, 2 p.m. So even if the Kings aren't playing, we are still talking NBA. We're talking anything that is Kings related, but we get into the entire world of sports. So come check us out. We are here. You ready for some more calls?
Let's do it, man. I want to get to everyone tonight.
Yeah, this is their night. You've stuck with us all season. We are here for you. through the night if we need to be. Jeff, all the way from Texas, who had pizza, mozzarella sticks, and chicken wings lined up for tonight.
I sure did, but I done threw them all up after watching that. Oh my gosh! And real quick to go on that Sabonis thing, I'm not sure if we want him, it's gonna want if he wants us. I hear it all the time how you hear that coaches were out-coached, and you see it sometimes, but tonight was the first time where me, being a dumb dude that I am, saw it. Like, literally, Christie get out-coached terribly. And I knew it when his trick up his sleeve was bringing in McDermott. Nothing against McDermott, but if that's your decision on shaking things up, you're in some deep crap. And it got so bad where I didn't want to win. I was like, man, we can't pull this off because we don't deserve it. We're not even playing. Everyone looked terrible, and it was like DeRozan shot so many shots. He was fine, but I felt like
I got no problem with DeRozan tonight. I'm sorry, I have no problem with him. He's the only guy that was trying to, he was in a groove. He was unstoppable. I don't have an issue with him. I'm sorry, I don't.
No, I agree. I wasn't trying to dog him. I just feel like he was the only one at a lot of times that was even moving or trying to create something. He would get the ball, and yes, he does stop the ball sometimes, but when he would get the ball, no one else would try to do anything. I felt like he had to score 100 points for us to even win, and he took great shots. He's great at what he does, so it's not his fault we lost. That's not what I was
You're not winning a big game with 18 turnovers.
Yeah.
Just not. It was too many turnovers. There was not, I got to tell you, there wasn't one element of the game that I can applaud the Kings on tonight. I don't think they did anything well. I think they got outclassed in every phase of the game tonight. Is there one thing, Ryan, that you think the Kings did well in tonight? I don't see it.
No, not at all, unfortunately, which is crazy to say, Grant. I mean, I don't think you're winning a play-in game, let alone playoff game, when you have a quarter 44-19, even in today's NBA. That is complete domination.
Sure it is.
That's more than the score. That's a bigger message. Hey, Jeff, thanks for the call, brother.
Hey, we appreciate that. We're going to get to as many calls as we can. Don't forget about New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. We wish they had a fix for the Kings, but as good as they are, they can't work magic with the Kings, but they can work magic for you. They're very good. And I just want to say thank you to so many of you that have reached out, that have used New Works, that have complimented them. And they appreciate that. We appreciate their support here on the channel. Give them a call. You got their website. I like newworksplumbing.com, NEWWRXplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. I hope you don't need them, but if you do, get in contact with them.
Donald, really quick, my friend. The Kings started doubling him for no reason. They didn't need to. They were playing him straight up well, which then got other guys hot, which made their bigger threats on the perimeter, which meant the perimeter defense had to pick up, and it was downhill from there.
I thought Sabonis did a great job on AD at the beginning of the game for the first quarter.
Yeah.
He was excellent. And you know what happened? When Anthony Davis went out of the game in the first quarter or towards the end, when he was out of the game, the Mavs became a much better team because the ball was moving everywhere and shooters like Thompson and others were getting their hands on the rock instead of the ball being somewhat stagnant with AD trying to work on Sabonis. It actually benefited the Mavs when he went out of the game for a while.
It's an excellent point. They went on a 7-0 run right when he went out of the game. Great observation by you. Really quick, to the callers that are waiting, if your handle is a statement, change it, or else we're not going to bring you up. So we're not doing that here. Good friend of the show, Umar, what's going on?
Hey there, Grant, Ryan. Can you guys both hear me?
Yes, we hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Wonderful. First of all, thank you guys for the season, for the coverage, and for something that becomes as important to so many of us as our sports team, our city, and to go through the highs and lows with you guys and the great coverage you provide. So you guys become almost like a close friends and family in a sense. So it's been a pleasure through the course of the season.
Thank you.
And so just wanted to acknowledge you guys for that. And then just wanted to, Grant, well, where do we begin? What a what's going on here right now, correct? But you and I had spoken earlier about if there was any relevance or opportunity from what the Stockton Kings had accomplished to help with rebuilding this franchise, and
No,
I'm
they're
just
not
drawing
related
at
in any
straws.
way. No, 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 no. Congratulations to the Stockton Kings, but
Yeah.
no, no.
And I thought I would get Ryan's opinion on this since he's followed that team closely. So if Ryan had anything to add to that, happy to hear from him. And then, secondly, everybody is now talking about it, starting from all the reports coming from the ESPNs and the Athletic, that the dysfunction is coming from the top down. And I think it's come to the point now that at every media scrum, at any opportunity, people need to be asking the question of what is ownership thinking, and because how else do we get answers and some kind of accountability, and those might be the
Well,
only
nobody's going to
opportunities.
speak for the owner. Monty McNair, Doug Christie, or anyone else, Matina, no one's going to speak for the owner. They're going to have Vivek speak, but he's unreachable. But you're not going to, you could ask that question to anyone you wanted. They're not going to answer that question.
Wait, he's
Yeah.
unreachable. 50 Cent can get a hold of him. Carrot Top
Yeah.
can get a hold of him. I mean, we
and,
can't get
and
a hold
that's
of him.
and that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
good point.
The
When I mean
the
unreachable, I mean he's not going to grant an interview, is what I mean.
Right.
I sincerely hope there is something that comes out of this uproar that's happening of people are asking, what is this owner thinking and doing? And the only opportunities that I see is, yes, they may not be able to speak for him, but at least the message will be sent from the media and they're hearing it from the fans that, look, the ownership needs to be held to account here. And those might
I,
be the only opportunities.
I want Ryan to answer your question about the Stockton Kings. I don't follow the G League. I congratulate them. They obviously did a tremendous job, but Ryan goes to the games down there. He's much more dialed in. You were asked a question, Ryno, and I didn't give you an opportunity to answer it. So go ahead.
Yeah, I disagree with you. Now, I'm not saying there's anything ground shaking to pull from it, but I think the G League's becoming more and more important. 55% of the players in the league are coming through the G League. In fact, Brandon Williams tonight, who had 17 for the
Dallas.
Mavs for Dallas, he just got signed to a regular contract spot. And had he played enough games in the G League, he would have been their leading scorer this
But
year.
I didn't say it wasn't important. I never said the G League wasn't important.
Correct. But here's the tie. The tie is with this new CBA, player development, scouting, all that, there is a premium on it. Draft
Yes.
picks, premium on it. Identifying talent that's not drafted, Keon Ellis, Isaac Jones, getting them into a stable system that is not completely different from the system that's being ran from the parent. And so you're getting that in Stockton. Stockton is a top 3 or 4 team in the G League consistently, the way they are ran, the way that they play. And so what I'm saying is there's no coincidence that you've had a Keon Ellis come up. There's no coincidence. Now, Isaac's not had the same impact, but he's also on a shorter timeline. The importance of that continuing is super important to this team getting better. It just is directly correlated. There's no other way to put it. And here's the other thing. You don't have the owner paying attention down there. They're operating with autonomy and they're doing damn good things.
I need to step in here. We're getting a lot of people that said Monty McNair just quit. I'm trying to get that confirmed. Yep, Sam Amick, the Athletic, the Kings of Monty McNair have mutually agreed to part ways. League tells the Athletic. I told you that I thought it would happen tonight or tomorrow, so it's gone. Sam Amick, a very reputable source, saying that Monty McNair is out as Kings general manager. I think you saw the writing on the wall when his assistant left to go to Utah, Wes Wilcox, and now you will have a new general manager, and in my opinion, you will have a new coaching staff.
Jason Anderson, also very reputable with the SAC B, interim Kings coach Doug Christie, on whether he's been given any assurances about the job moving forward. None, but this is where I want to be. I think you guys know that. I need to finish what I started.
There's no chance. Well, I shouldn't say that because Vivek Ranadive is the owner. this Kings team will be making a gigantic mistake of epic proportions if they do not allow the new general manager to hire their own coach. Let me repeat this. The new general manager of the Sacramento Kings needs to be able to hire their coaching staff and their head coach. If that doesn't happen, there is no hope for the Sacramento Kings moving forward. The fact that Monte McNair is no longer the general manager of the Kings some 30 minutes to 45 minutes after the game ended would tell me that Doug will be notified tonight before he leaves the building that they're going in a different direction. And if that doesn't happen, you've got a massive mess on your hands.
So, Grant,
you're not firing Doug Christie. And Doug needs to have every opportunity to stay with the Sacramento Kings organization in a role that benefits Doug and benefits the Kings. But it's not head coach. I'm sorry.
So, Grant or Umer, here's the question. Did Monte McNair get over on the owner by mutually agreeing to part ways? To me, that screams Monte quit and Vivek didn't fire him.
Listen, this is just semantics here. Monte McNair was fired tonight, and they're making it look better than it is. Okay?
But why why would this owner do that?
But here's the other thing. You can't take away from the fact that Wes Wilcox leaves in the middle of the season. You can't take away Luke Locke's jumping ship. I've never seen that happen, an assistant coach jumping ship in the middle of the season. So it almost felt like everybody was biding their time until this moment.
Yeah. Hey,
what I would do, you know what I would do? I'll tell you what I would do if I was the owner. I would call Doug into my conference room tonight, and I would tell him, I would give him a role where he is the new full-time TV analyst for the Kings and a player development role, because Doug lives to go to practice. And if he's the TV analyst, he's on the road all the time and can go to practices and shoot-arounds, which he loved doing anyway. I would give Doug a player development role, working with the players, and I would make him the full-time TV analyst. That's the role I would give Doug Christie.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Umer, thanks for the call. Appreciate you, brother. Very interesting take, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. And I think we should say, you've talked about Doug's work ethic. This was not for a lack of effort. Doug works his ass off. And these were not Doug's assistant coaches. Think about if you are coach, if you're the associate head coach and you get jumped over and he's now the head. It was just a nightmare of a dynamic, really difficult to deal with. But yeah, Doug agrees, or should still be here in some capacity. PK, keep it clean.
Really?
Yes, really.
Hey, boys.
What's up, dude?
Hey, great show. Congratulations on entire season, guys. Now, I am so listen, if I give a grade to this team, I give a grade of WTF plus, because this team was unprepared. The coaching didn't show up. The players didn't show up. Nothing showed up. This was garbage. And I love the fans. I love everyone in the chat, but all the passive people and passive people calling about next season, all this stuff. No, you're forgetting that a game happened today. A game happened today. And we got rocked. We got embarrassed. We got rocked, embarrassed. Every single facet of this team fell apart when we went against a team that was also hurting.
Right.
And we just looked stupid out there. We looked stupid.
The whole season was a failure.
And I don't know how, Grant, like I told you before, Grant, I don't know how we can fix this. I don't know how we can fix this. Without now we don't have a pick, we don't have nothing. I don't know how we can fix this because I was really hoping that we had enough firepower to get to that freaking playoff. I really I felt it. They had those 4 good games and I thought that they freaking had it together. And they didn't. They fell apart like a bunch of freaking pussies.
All right. Again,
PK,
breaking news
warned you,
reported by
buddy.
Sam Amick of The Athletic that Monty McNair has mutually agreed to part ways with the Kings.
There you go. Did not
So,
even make it
what's
out
next?
of the building.
Nope. What's next?
Well, you said it.
I said it. You asked me when do I think it would happen, and I said either tonight or tomorrow.
Well, at least it happened tonight. Sooner was better than later in this case. But the Doug shoe is the next thing that needs
right.
to fall just as
And
quick
you
as you
can't
said.
you can't have that dangling out there for any
No.
period of time.
No.
All right. That needs to be made public, and it needs to happen soon so that everyone understands that this regime is no longer going to be moving forward with us, and it's starting fresh, and the word is out tonight. We have a vacancy or 2 in the front office and on the sidelines as coach.
100% with
sorry.
you.
Doug is not ready to be an NBA head coach. I'm sorry. He's just not. And I'm not saying this to be mean or I'm trying to get back at Doug like some of you think. It has nothing to do with that. Doug needs to stay with the organization. Doug loves Sacramento. He loves the Kings. His heart is with this franchise. But Doug's not the answer for head coach. And I'm going to say it this way. If Doug is relieved of his interim tag tonight, meaning that he's not going to be part of the interview process moving forward, I don't know who's going to be available. In other words, I don't know what coaching vacancies are going to pop up between now and the end of the playoffs. There's not 1 out of 30 or not 1 out of the other 29 teams that would interview Doug Christie to be their head coach. Okay? Let's just call it the way it is. Let's deal with reality. Doug wouldn't get an interview at any of the other teams if they all had coaching vacancies.
Completely agree with you. I wonder if you asked Doug candidly if he was ready, thought he was ready to be a head coach, what that answer would be.
I'll tell you, I said this when Mike Brown was fired. I said, if I'm going to hire, if it's important to the owner to have a former King, the first guy I'm reaching out to is Bobby Jackson.
Right.
Bobby was at the game tonight. Bobby is an assistant coach with Philadelphia. I've always felt that Bobby had what it took to be a very good head coach. And he would at least be somebody, if I wanted to keep the history of the Kings, which, by the way, I don't think is that important.
I agree with you.
And thank you very much. Thought on Scott Perry as potential GM, of course, who left Sacramento to go to the Knicks. I would think of him. But I believe that this decision needs to be made very soon. I believe Doug needs to have every opportunity to stay within the organization in a role that suits him. And I think that's important here. Remember, Doug was the assistant coach and moved to the interim coach. Do I believe he deserved it? No, I've been very outspoken about that, but I would have taken it too. Doug actually did a pretty good job over the totality of everything, if you really want to be fair about this. But he's not, in my opinion, a quote-unquote head coach. Could he grow into that role at some point? Maybe. But I think tonight, everyone saw the difference in coaching between Jason Kidd and Doug Christie. And I don't think that you can go forward with Doug as your permanent head coach. I think it would be a grave mistake.
Mike, thanks for waiting.
All right. Grant, Ryan, I'm not driving. I'm good. So
Good.
Yes,
Good.
good.
yeah. Sorry about that. So Grant, all I can say is you were right, and this team just wasn't ready for the playoffs as much as us fans wanted to believe that, heck, wouldn't it be a nice story considering everything that happened this year if we got the 8th seed? But we didn't. 40 wins, who really cares? But I just want to talk to Ryan. I kind of saw this coming. Maybe Grant did too. With their bigs who have played in the finals, so they're proven playoff vets. The guard play, I didn't really watch the game tonight. I had to work, but I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool to get off and look at the beam, see what happens in Memphis? But Grant, you were right. This is why you are the voice of the Kings. You have like a pulse on the Kings. Us fans, I'm guilty of looking at everything through purple lens, right? And I just wanted to believe that Levine was going to catch fire, and who cares if we lose to OKC as long as we get there, and who knows what's going to happen. But I'll tell you this, Grant knew that Monty was probably going to go. With Doug Christie, I feel that Doug is right. Grant, you're right. He's not ready to be the NBA coach. Us fans who are old school with the Vlade and Christie days, we want the story. We want this to happen. So I was just kind of like bummed out. That's how the season ended, on a blowout. I mean, are you kidding me? You have a packed house ready to light the beam, and you can't play. You can't get up for the fans. That's what Sacramento has always been about since like the days before Vlade and Christie. Like, you had to play for the fans. Like, that's the whole point. And I feel like listening to a lot of callers and looking at the score, Grant's right. This game was over before it started.
Well, I don't know if it was over before it started, but it was over before halftime.
Right. Ryno, what's up? What's up, buddy?
What's up, dude?
Stockton Kings. Can you
Yes.
imagine that? Yeah. Like, who would have thought? And what you were talking about earlier, as far as the Stockton Kings,
Yeah.
it's a lot like the River Cats. If you're doing really good, you might get called up to the big club. Keon is proof of that, right? Isn't he what we want from the G League?
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, there are players on every team in the NBA that have players playing every night from the G League. The G League is an important tool.
Not
for
like
the
Keon
NBA.
Ellis. Not like Keon Ellis, though.
Well, I mean, what about tonight? You just used the example of Williams. What did he do tonight?
Well, he had one good night. Keon Ellis has worked his way
He had
into
a
a
much better
starting
night tonight
lineup.
than Keon Ellis did.
Well, okay, fair enough. Body of work, though. Body of work.
But again, let's not blow this out of proportion. The G League is the G League, okay, and it has a role. And Ryan, you hit it right on the head. The role of the G League and the importance has increased recently. Okay, it is a very important tool for NBA franchises. But this perception that, gee, we need to take the front office of the Stockton Kings and move them into the Kings front office because they just won a championship. Put the brakes on, would you please?
I don't think anybody's saying that.
I'm reading on the chat line. I'm reading people asking that question, and I'm like, come on, stop it.
Yeah, you don't put them in as the new GM. I mean, but you also look at body of work. And if you can scout basketball, is there a better place for you in the organization where you can help and give out more? That's all I think people are saying.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But
For
let's not blow it out of proportion here.
Can I ask you guys something? I know I'm not trying to have the head coach of the Stockton Kings be the Kings coach, but we do have a glaring hole. It's the point guard. Honestly, what do you two think about Mason? Let's say he has a good preseason with the Kings. I don't know how all the contracts work. Is he a two-way? It kind of gets confusing. But since we have a glaring hole with the point guard, could Mason, I'm not saying he's going to start, but could he like maybe make the roster full-time
maybe he
next
could
year?
make the roster, but that, I've been saying this for years and years and years. You win and lose in the NBA with your top 8 to 9 guys. Okay, that's where you win or lose. You don't win or lose games with your 11th, 12th, and 13th guys. Are they important? Yes, of course they are. But you don't win or lose with them. It's not that big of a deal. The reality is, in the NBA, if you don't have a legitimate point guard, it's the equivalent of playing in the National Football League without a legitimate quarterback. It doesn't work.
Hey, Grant, really quick. I don't mean to cut you off. Sean Cunningham is reporting just 1 minute ago that in the Kings locker room at the moment, and the players that have remained are being called into a meeting.
Right. And so they're either being told about not only Monty McNair, but they may also be versed on what's going on with Doug Christie.
Right.
I believe personally that this needs to be done tonight, especially now that you have mutually parted ways with Monty McNair. All right. I don't see there. I got to tell you, I don't think there's any way in the world Doug Christie is going to be the Kings head coach next year. And yet, on the other hand, I go, well, gee, I got to remember who the owner is. But if I'm using common sense and I'm using my brain, which I don't use very often, if you followed me over the decades of coverage, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, there's no reason that you would bring Doug back.
Here's the thing. If it wasn't Doug Christie, if it was Anthony Carter that was fourth chair and got called into the Kings head coaching job this year, this fan base wouldn't be clamoring or part of it fighting to have him back. It's because it's Doug Christie. It's the past. It's who he is, what he's contributed to the franchise.
And the Kings just lost another assistant coach, Mark Haynes, reporting that is it Jim Moran or Moran? Moran. I'm sorry, I don't even know who he is. Has accepted a position to join Luke Lux at Florida State.
Grant,
this is going to be a fun couple of weeks as this stuff starts to roll out. You think that's a... All right, go ahead.
Grant, I got one thing for you. What is the opposite, right, of a dandy? Like tonight was a dud. So what for you? What's the opposite of a dandy?
It's a great question.
It's a good question.
We have got a disaster here in Sacramento. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate your phone call. We're going to get to some other folks.
All right. If you guys are waiting on hold, please do not DM us. It fills up our entire screen. We'll drop you off if you keep DMing us.
And if you're on hold, we're going to get to you. Ryan, we're going to stay with you. Don't worry about it. We're not going to wrap up the show. We appreciate all of you that have joined us tonight. And we know that a lot of people want to talk, and we're going to give you the opportunity.
Absolutely. Baki, thanks for waiting.
No problem at all. How are you guys doing?
Baki.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, okay. Well, what to say at the end? So sad after 35 years of watching NBA and rooting for the team, which is playing the last game in 4:30 a.m. and watching it every game. To finish the season like this, with when one the whole season is in one game and you see the blowout. So I don't want to talk about those players. I don't want to talk about this team. All of us already said it all. I will never ever again say a single word about Keegan Murray. The guy is developing a bit faster than a wounded turtle. So he can play the basketball for my street maybe if our fifth player is sick. And that's all about this team, I will say. So the thing I'm happy with is all of you people, because I thank you all for this half of a year of hanging together here. It means a lot to me. You guys made my NBA season colorful more than the team I'm rooting for. So at the end, I would like, if you, Grant and Ryno, allow me to thank to you, Grant, to you, Ryno, Finchy, Wolfie, PK, BJ, Condog, Adam, Alex, Zach, Cody, Microwave, Urslav, Athena Channel, all of you guys, really thank you a lot for hanging around here on the channel. The channel was great. You guys are great.
Channel is great. We're still here.
Yeah,
Kings
it's
season over. We're still here.
okay,
Every day.
and it's gonna be great. I don't have doubt about it. So you guys doing a great job. I mean, for me, sad that only good thing from the Sacramento Kings is this show. Sad but true. So I wish you all the great stuff in the future. We'll be hanging around again, but I can take this ending seasons like this after that many years without the playoffs, playing 1 year after you finish third in the West and having playoff. Okay, so now you got one step ahead and two steps down. So it's very, very disappointing for me watching the games this late at night, every night, 30 years.
Yeah.
So that's all for me. I'm done
Thank
for
you,
this
Baki.
year.
We love you, buddy. We appreciate your feedback, your loyalty, the fact that you stay up to the wee hours of the morning joining us. Thank you. We greatly appreciate you.
We pour out a
Holy moly, Zimbabwe!
for you, Baki. Thank you very much, buddy.
And also, for those that are just joining us, we are aware of the Monty McNair news, and we have been discussing it at length. Thank you very much for joining us here. You can always go back when we're done and go to YouTube or X or my podcast platform, and you can listen to the entirety or watch the entirety of the show. But yes, we are aware of that. Thank you very much for those of you that are joining us. We have been talking about it at length here on the postgame show.
Yeah, and just a few minutes ago, per Sean Cunningham, the remaining players that were in the locker room were called into a meeting. Still awaiting word on what is going to come out of that meeting. Once we have word, we'll pass it along to you. So let's see. Zach, Essie, Nico, Randy, or Reedy. Thanks for waiting.
And by the way,
Jason.
you know what? Real quickly, I wonder who conducted that meeting. Like, why would Doug Christie call the players in? Like, who was running that meeting? I'd like to know the answer to that.
Well, maybe Doug made, from what I'm seeing, a pretty impassioned statement about wanting to remain the head coach of this team. So it's not the owner. I don't think it's Vivek Ranadive.
I would think the players wouldn't hang around and hear Vivek.
Yeah. So an assistant coach or Doug, possibly.
Yeah.
Who else would it be?
I don't know.
Because the players only meeting, players are only in the locker room. So anyways, everybody that's on hold, thank you. We're coming. First, Jason.
All right. Hey, thanks for taking my my call. I appreciate you guys. In light of Easter week, there's a verse, Amos 3:3, a very short and not well-known book in the Old Testament. It says, "Can two walk together without having the same direction?" And I think that sums up the Sacramento Kings, not only this year, but many years in the past, is it doesn't seem like the ownership and the GM, the coaches, or even the players understand what the direction is. They're not walking together. They're not working together. And I liken it to this. I know, Ryan, when you came on the show with Grant, you had a vision for what you wanted to do with your life. You have it all mapped out, whether it's written down or in your head. We hear stories about you, Grant, from your college days, that you were driven and you were on your grind, so to speak. That's what people say nowadays, but you had a vision of what you wanted to do. And that's why you have so many fans and followers that we like to hear what you have to say, because you're passionate about it. And we know that your heart is in it.
Thank you.
I think that's why a lot of people like Doug, whether he's a good coach or not, we know he has a passion for the game.
100%.
And so which on a side note, I know that things didn't work out so well with the broadcasting with him, but I know that you have a profound respect for him, because you, as a fellow man, you can respect who he is and what he stands for. And so I think in light of all this stuff, I mean, honestly, I checked out when when they let you go, or that whole situation with you, Grant. I know I conversed with you on Twitter back then, and we've had some contact since then. But my whole idea of what I wanted, for myself and my fandom, it was pretty much done. I took my, at that time, 80-year-old mother to go see some of the Kings games. I was going to buy season tickets. We got to the door of the arena there twice on two separate occasions, and she's almost needs a wheelchair. She's very old, and we got to the door and they shut us out during the whole BLM stuff. And I was like, this is ridiculous. They can't even let their fans in the door. It was insane. But
Yeah, it
that
was
whole
definitely a very uncertain time.
That was a
That's
chaotic
for
night.
sure.
I
Yeah.
was there. Yeah.
Hey, listen.
So,
I want to
anyways,
just now speak because we have so many people that want to
sure,
get on.
sure,
So
sure.
I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm
No,
just
no
saying
problem.
thank you for your support.
You got it.
Thank you for being with us, and don't go anywhere in terms of this off season because we're going to be doing shows every day.
Love your shows, guys. I appreciate you guys, and I'm
Thank
sure
you.
everybody here does as well. Thank you, guys.
Amen.
Thank you very
Fellow
much.
Aztec. Good job by
We
you,
greatly,
Jason.
greatly appreciate that. And I'll tell you, if you want to feel better, go down to Bennett's. All right, one of their 3 locations: the West Side Grill, or Sacramento, or Roseville. Brian was at the game tonight. Huge Kings fan. I know he's not doing well. Bennett's Prime Seafood and Steaks. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com to make a reservation. That's Bennett'sRestaurants.com, Ryno.
Love us some Bennett's. Get your reservations now. Do you want to hear from Doug Christie?
Yes.
And all right, here's Coach Christie. We'll put some stats up while we listen.
I need to finish what I started. And that's the only reason that I ever even stepped onto the sideline from where I was at initially. Because I had to exercise some demons for myself. But more than anything is when you hear the narratives that are written by people who are not here and just have random stuff to say, it irks me because they don't know. It's an incredible fan base. It's an incredible organization. And when it's right and you're going around beating the hell out of people, not a lot of people got a lot to say then. But when you're getting your butt beat, they got a lot to say. And I feel you. But when that tide turns and the rabbit got the gun, then we'll see.
You're kind of obviously alluding.
So that was Doug.
It's not an incredible organization, so we need to stop right there. Doug's got a heart the size of the building and loves Sacramento, but it's not an incredible organization. It's a dysfunctional organization, and the fact that Doug was given the interim coach is part of the dysfunction.
Yeah, definitely an argument there. Let's hit up Reedy. Thanks for waiting, Reedy.
Oh, it's good. Appreciate y'all. Man, I'm a little shocked that I got on. Ryan and Grant, appreciate you guys. I've been a
Happy to
long
have you
time
here.
fan. Watch you
you.
guys show at night as well, man. Appreciate you guys' input and after the games. It's just really disappointing, man. I feel like there's no energy in the Kings. A lot of the players kind of gave up. Doug was trying to keep that fight alive the last later part of the season, and I just felt like some Kings were in it, some Kings weren't. And then tonight, it seemed like Levine didn't have that energy that he needs to bring to keep us alive too. He had 20 points, but it was like a silent 20. He wasn't really driving hard to the hole. I know they had some big men that caused a lot of trouble for us.
He
I
was
just
terrible
felt like
tonight. He was
yeah,
terrible.
yeah. I just felt like
Really quick, can I break in?
Yeah.
A reliable source is telling me Doug Christie called the meeting with
Okay.
the player.
Okay.
So go
yeah.
ahead.
I just felt like we really needed a Monk spark off the bench because we'd have no spark. He barely played Doug McDermott's any. Doug McDermott can spray a lot for us, create some type of points off the bench. He didn't play Isaac Jones. Isaac Jones would have brought some energy to help with those big men. I just felt like it was like really off today. it just was a really poor showing for the Kings, and just be at home. The SAC crowd is amazing there, and I just wish we were back to the old school Kings. We need some players basically like the old school Kings that would challenge the Lakers every year in the playoffs and stuff like that, man. We need some fighters like that to join the organization.
Yep.
Well,
Or
go ahead.
I was going to say, or turn this organization into a new identity that might not be
Yeah.
the same as that, but equally is great. You know, it's sad
Yeah.
that this was the performance that goes out on national TV, because it feeds directly in to what every
Yeah.
national writer and everybody that doesn't watch the Kings or pay attention to them thinks. And it's
It was
just
embarrassing.
concerned.
It was
I'm just
absolutely
concerned if we're
embarrassing.
going to get some good players. Like this wasn't a good look for the organization, man.
No.
What kind of players are going to want to play here?
Yep.
Yep. Hey, appreciate you being a fan, and thank you for taking the time
I
to call.
Thank
appreciate
you.
you guys, man. Thank you so
You too.
much. Have a great evening.
You as
Thank
well.
you very much.
We keep
This is
rolling
a very
along.
good one. That super chat, real quickly. SAC
Yeah.
fans are the brand of the Kings. It sounds like you're right. The brand of the Kings
100%.
are their fans. It's well said.
Very well said. Zach, thanks for waiting.
Hey, thank you guys for coming on so late and just covering the Kings the way you do. Longtime listener, huge fan of the King. Grew up living in Vacaville for a long time. Couple things. First of all, let's just clarify some things here. Monty McNair was not the general manager of this team, and I think the fans need to understand that. This was clearly, Jeremy Lamb as your GM.
Let's not go that far.
So the report that's coming out of the Athletic that it's just dysfunction and people have no influence over the team. I mean, it's clear that Doug was dealt a terrible hand. You can make the case that you could have other coaches that you would have wanted to be the head coach. They were trying to groom Doug for this role. So I'm not going to take that away from him, that he was dealt with a really poor roster construction and players that ultimately saw no future from the organization. So I'm not going to hold that against Doug and his performance. And ultimately, he was just trying to recreate the culture. And that's where it's like, Grant, I kind of disagree with your take that like Doug shouldn't have been the interim guy. Jay Triano didn't want to be on the staff. And you can totally see Jay Triano will not be an assistant coach going into next year.
But okay, so first it's an assumption, unless you talk to Jay Triano, that he didn't want to be on.
Let's just say I know people very close to the situation. He will not be a part of the Kings coaching staff next year.
Okay, but that's an easy jump to make. I guess what I'm saying was that problem did not, if true, come up until Doug was chosen as the interim head coach. That problem was not there when Mike Brown was the head coach. Is that fair to say?
In terms of which problem? Like Jay Triano as
Jay Triano.
Yeah, I mean, so Jay wanted to fall on the sword. He didn't want Mike to go, and he ultimately didn't continually wanted to be there. So I don't know how Grant can make the claim that he wanted him to be the head coach when he doesn't even want to necessarily be on the staff because he knows how dysfunctional the organization is.
We're playing hypotheticals. I can't speak for Grant, but there's a lot of different reports out there. Grant and I have our individual sources. We do not use each other as a source. There's a lot of stuff floating around, and there's many fingers that can be pointed within this organization right now. But I will say this, the dysfunction does start at the top. I think that is very clear.
Yep, and I think that's what the fans need to understand is like it's not a matter of like, yeah, let's go get Kevin Durant, let's go get great players. It's like you saw what happened to the Phoenix Suns, you saw what happened to other really good basketball teams in this league that have really talented players, but they don't necessarily put it together. Is like the actual organization culturally needs to change, and the people making the decisions need to be held accountable for that. And this one comes down to your owner, and I feel very bad for Kings fans because it's either this or your team is playing in Seattle. So I'm very sorry for what the fans have to endure here because this is a great fan base and a great city, and they don't deserve it.
I agree. But, one of the best.
Just all the best, and just like just hopefully they can get some good leadership in there. And I mean, in terms of who the next head coach can be, there's a lot of really great head coaches out there. I don't know if they would want to be a head coach, a part of this organization. Given where the roster is at, given where the ownership is, given who the decision maker is. I mean, it's clear that like Monty McNair wasn't even making the decisions here. So it'll just be interesting to see where they go. And I hope Doug gets a second chance and gets a fair shake if he does.
Thanks,
But
Zach. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back with you. Had a little power failure here, but we're all good. Thank you
Yeah, I
very
would
much
love to
for the
get
call.
Grant. I would love to get Grant's take here. I mean, I'm sorry that you got disconnected there, but
No problem. I did a rant earlier on this. To me, the season was a complete failure, and I don't think you can characterize this season any other way than a complete failure. Going back from giving Mike Brown an extension in the summertime when you didn't have to, then firing Mike, the De'Aaron Fox scenario, the trade, not having Zach LaVine really work out, a team that faltered mightily down the stretch and got embarrassed in the biggest game of the year in front of their hometown fans, 40 wins, below 500 at home. This season was a failure. I'm not surprised that Monty is gone. I thought that would be the case, and I
do you
said
think
so.
Monty was the GM or Jeremy Lamb?
Jeremy Lamb was not the GM. I know that there's rumors out there, but no, Monty was the GM. But Vivek really is the GM. And then, and I also said that I think that Doug is not an NBA head coach. He's not ready for it yet. And I think that now that Monty is leaving the Sacramento Kings, I think it would be criminal to hire a new GM and not let him hire his own coach. I think it would be an absolute disaster of epic proportions if you now bring in a new general manager and do not allow that general manager to hire their own coach. I'm telling everyone right now, you've heard it on April 16th, my dad's birthday. Would have been 99 today. Love you, Dad.
Happy birthday.
Dad, thank
Happy
you.
birthday,
I'm just
Bert.
telling you. I'm just telling you. You cannot bring in a new general manager and not let the new GM hire his coach.
I think that's
not
fair. I don't think people want
to.
to. I don't think this is an attractive place to go for a coach to be hired.
No,
like the roster composition is terrible. No one really knows who the true leader is. The culture is terrible, and Doug tried to establish the culture. And I ultimately think he was given a terrible deal, and stuff with the roster that I don't think he necessarily agreed to. And I don't think that's on him. Unfortunately, he got dealt a very poor hand. And it's kind of a shame because I actually do think he could be a decent head coach in the league if given the right circumstances.
Well, then, you know what? If that's the case, he will get there and he can work his way through the process again. And, you know, the Kings are going to be in Sacramento for maybe forever. He can come back and coach the team at a later time.
Maybe with a new owner.
Maybe.
Because that's ultimately, and I appreciate you, Grant, holding the team to be accountable. I know what it must have been difficult in the past, so I appreciate the accountability that you're kind of giving to the organization here, because the fans desperately need that.
Well, hey, I appreciate that.
Thanks for the call, Zach. Appreciate it. Good stuff from Zach. Hey, piece of good news: the G-Man is coming back for another season next year.
Of course,
he's announced. Yeah. So we can all. Like that. That is something good coming from tonight. SC, thanks for hanging in there, buddy.
What's up, Ryan? What's up, Grant?
Hey there.
Yeah, I share in the frustration of the 916 and greater area of just being frustrated and season after season. And I don't want to talk too much about tonight's game. It is what it is. But one thing I was thinking about was look at the history of the Kings under Vivek's ownership. Okay. I can't think of one player who came to Sacramento, okay, and said, "Oh, my career was in shambles till I got here." Every free agent we get, every good player we get, they come here because they get paid more money because we're not a free agency hotspot. Okay. But then look at the other way around. Look at all the players and coaches from Mike Malone to Belly and other people who have come through this organization, left and became successful in
Well, I can tell you right
other
now, Chris Webber,
franchises.
Bobby Jackson, and Vlade Divac would disagree with you 100%. Their careers were in shambles or in complete disarray and came here and flourished and became all-stars.
No, Grant. I said during Vivek's ownership.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't hear that part.
No. Oh, yeah.
You know what? That would be hard to argue with.
Right. And so, as you mentioned earlier, either the fans need to stop supporting the team and going to the games, or someone's got to get inside of Vivek's inner circle and tell him the truth.
Or somebody needs to be able to play the game. at Vivek's level. There's that middle ground too. Go ahead.
Well, if you want to play 3D chess, then yeah, maybe I should go date his daughter and get it to Vivek that way. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
But
Well, in all
anyways,
fairness, Monty
thanks
McNair
for
has had 5 years in this position and only made the playoffs one time. It's time for a change.
Yeah, exactly. So if you guys were playing that 3D chess, how would you guys get to Vivek? What do you guys think? I mean, I know you already mentioned one thing, Grant, but Ryan, do you have any ideas? How can we get to him and let him know that he's the problem?
At 11:02 p.m. on the night the King season ends, it's the last thing on my mind. Give me 24 hours.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Essie. Good job.
Hey, we appreciate the call. Thank you very much. Yeah, I would agree with that. Right now is not the time for that. It is the time, though, to maybe get out of Sacramento and go look at Sunrise Landing in Calusa. Probably is a perfect time, and you'll probably be very happy. Sunrise Landing is awesome. It is a Blazona development project. Many models to choose from. Remember, there's no Mellorews. There's no homeowners. Good access to Calusa via I-5, Highway 45, Highway 20, and it's adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club. Go to CalusaSunrise.com. Get out of Sacramento. Go to Calusa. There you have it. I'm helping everyone tonight.
Cool down a little bit. It's been hot here in the Valley the last couple days. Nico, Marathon Man, waiting his turn. Thanks for waiting.
Grant, Nate, Mr. Ryno.
What's up?
Want to shoot you guys some love first before I go ahead and get my Nico rant off, if you know what I mean. I just want to thank you guys both, man, for the season-long consistency, man, and dedication, the 916, man, and, giving us what we need as far as quality and loyalty with some quality, good coverage, two guys that, as a diehard Sacramento Kings fan, I know I can speak for the rest of, the people that contribute to the chat and whatnot. That we can look forward to, getting some solid news and whatnot. But that aside, I got back from the game tonight and I was there in attendance this evening, and it's been a while since I've called in, but being that the results kind of turned out the way they did, and the season finally just ended the way it did this evening, I just felt the need to just, like I said, just kind of call in and vent, just not only to get off my shoulders, but I think for a lot of fans too. I know a lot of people feeling the same way I do. I'm at a loss of words, man. It was just very disheartening and discouraging. I hear Grant all the time say about, people, for the pros, professional athletes, oh, I got personal reasons I'm not going to play today. I bust my rear end, man. I go to work every day. I'm a blue collar worker, and I go and pay a hard-earned dollar to go and watch my team play. And I do it gladly, and just to see the effort tonight, see the effort as a recent, courts, we can go to the management, the ownership, and all this and that. But at the end of the day, I just look at these players, man, and it just when I got into the arena today, I just didn't see the effort there. Outside that first quarter, it's like, bro, this is like literally it's win or go home. I mean, and if you want to be honest, the NBA has given us a freebie on getting into the play-in, if you will, right?
Yep.
I mean, we don't even deserve to be playing this excuse my French, but we don't even deserve to be playing the game, and it's just frustrating, man. You would, you'd like to see a lot more effort and hustle and et cetera, but at the end of the day, man, it's just it's disheartening. Like I said,
I understand your frustration. There was no bite from the Kings at all tonight. I get
it. Feel it. I didn't see
it. Thank you so much for taking the time and hanging on to talk to us. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You guys take care, guys.
You too.
Be well.
All right, so I want to ask you. I want to ask this question.
Yeah, please do.
There are a lot of fans that are questioning whether the Kings wanted to be out there tonight. Where was the fight after the first quarter? And how many times have we had Doug Christie come to the podium after a game and talk about how that was unacceptable? right? And Doug's worried they didn't feel us tonight. They didn't feel us tonight. They didn't feel us tonight. That's Doug's way of saying that we didn't come out and do what we were supposed to do. We didn't come out with the intensity that we needed, with the effort. As much as Doug is Mr. Sacramento, and as much as he loves this franchise, can't you make a parallel that not all of the players are playing that hard for Doug Christie, if that's what the fan base sees and your coach says is unacceptable after a lot of games? I mean, it's a fair point, is it not?
It is a fair point, but you could also make this parallel. You need to be put in the best positions to be able to create that energy, create that physicality. Grant, if I asked you to make me a steak dinner and there's no beef in your county, how are you going to do it?
It'd be very difficult. But isn't competing regardless of talent level?
Yes, but competing can also be masked. You could be doing your complete best, but you are just checkmated. You are out, like Sabonis down low, Grant. You don't think he was competing? He had 3 bigs crashing down upon him, and there wasn't a second big brought in to help him out. And so it can also appear that you're not competing at your highest level when you're not out in the open. You're not running. You're not doing what you do best. But it falls in the middle. I think you're right. It's Grant, in today's NBA, is that a message everybody can get behind, especially if you never played for the Sacramento Kings?
The message to me right now from ownership needs to be a clear and concise message. We are going in a different direction. That needs to be the message. And that means that Doug Christie needs to be notified that he will not be the next head coach of the Sacramento Kings, so that when we wake up in the morning, there is clarity of where we're heading. We don't know with whom, all right? We don't know with which individual and the big chair in the front office and the big chair on the sideline, but that needs to be made very clear and very soon.
Agree. Okay, Shams. All right, Shams, nothing new. That has already been reported. Shams came out with something about Monty McNair.
Yeah, nothing new as of now, based on what we've already reported that Sam Amick of The Athletic had first, to the best of my knowledge.
Yep, and Sean Cunningham had that there was a meeting going on between the players, or the players remaining in the locker room called into a meeting. I heard from a reliable source that was Doug Christie who called that meeting, and that's kind of where we stand as of right now with news coming down. Ibrahim, thanks for waiting today.
Hey, what's up, guys? Grant,
What's up,
Ryan.
man?
Hey there.
Thanks for a great season. I mean, the team may be terrible, but I mean, the coverage is always great. Much appreciated. I know you both put a lot of time into this. But for me, I mean, I hate to pile on and just rehash it, and I'll try to be quick. But Vivek Ranadive, as long as he's the owner of this team, I just don't see how there's any sustained success. I mean, you are what you are after this long of a period. You go back to when he hired Mike Malone. He hired the coach before the GM, and he forced him on Pete, and that never vibed. And we all know how that went down. Then you get a guy like Vladi in there who has no experience, and you let Brandon Williams have an equal say in that, and you had Ken Cantanella in the background. You had just too many cooks in the kitchen, right? And he never learns from his mistakes. We're human. We make mistakes. Humans make mistakes, right? But it's learning from them that matters. And he never learns from his mistakes. He can't help but meddle. That's what he does. You hire Monty McNair instead of hiring Monty and giving him free reign. Well, Monty's an analytical guy, so let's pair him with Wes, who has connections in the front office. It just doesn't work, and it's been over and over and over. And Grant, to your point about we should wake up to Doug not being the coach and being let go, 100% agree. I love Doug. He loves the city. He was the 3rd coach on the bench. What team lets go of their head coach and gives the job to the 3rd man on the bench?
And also, if it wasn't Doug Christie, would the Kings fans have reacted differently?
Exactly. If it was Joe Blow, right? It's just so often it's tapping into the sentimental, the nostalgia of let's trot out our O2 heroes, who I love, and Vladi's as good of a human as they come too. But this time, please, there's no salary cap on front office salaries. Go pay them, go pay a person that's qualified, vet them, do a thorough search, say, hey, what's your vision for this team? If that's blowing it up, blow it up. If that's retooling and you believe in it, retool. But let them get their guy. Because if we hire a GM and they pick Doug Christie, you know that that's a Vivek thing. Zach Levine, Vivek thing. Buddy Hield, he told Buddy when he was a Pelican, you're going to play for the Kings one day.
Yep.
That is Vivek Ranadive. I'll forever be grateful that he saved the team, but every other thing he's done, he's the worst owner in Sacramento Kings history by a mile.
You hit it right on the head. If Doug Christie is retained by the new general manager, whomever that will be, that's not coming from the general manager, which means it shows the entire fan base that the new general manager has no power, and we're right back to where we were.
Yep.
The news tonight about Monty McNair sealed Doug Christie's fate. Doug cannot come back as head coach. Even if Vivek Ranadive was thinking of that, it can't happen because the credibility, which is already at a near low point during Vivek's tenure as owner, will go through the basement, and it will be a disaster with a capital D of epic proportions.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say, and then I'll hop off and let someone else join, is just I'll go one step further. If they do a search and they get a GM and they get a great head coach and all that, if they go in and that coach has Doug Christie on their staff, it's the same exact problem. Because no coach after seeing this is saying, I want Doug on my staff. Like, and I loved it. I don't think Doug did a bad job this year. I think he got dealt a bad hand. But, you know, I mean, it just
I don't think
can't
Doug
happen.
would want to be. I don't think Doug would want to be on a new staff. I think
I
Doug
would
would
hope.
either leave the organization on his own or take a new role. I don't personally believe that it would be as an assistant coach, but I don't want to speak for Doug.
Yeah, I would hope not, but we'll see. With Vivek Ranadive, my bar is so low, and he manages to miss it every single time.
The reason why I say that, I know Doug very, very, very well. Doug is a very proud, almost to a point of being stubborn proud, and I don't think that he would allow himself to do that, because in his mind he would consider himself a demotion and a failure, and it doesn't fit his personality the way I know Doug, so that would surprise me.
Gotcha. Well, again, guys, appreciate the time, appreciate the show.
Yep.
Thank you.
Great call. Great call, by the way.
Excellent call.
Make sure you keep calling. We would love to hear from you again. Grant, how's this hit you? It's from DeMar DeRozan, quote, "It's probably the most I've been through in my 16-year career on this season. The season we had was a lot. It's hard to fathom right now," end quote.
Spot on. He's been through a lot. I mean,
that's crazy.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yep.
That is saying a lot. All right, Jeff, you are our last caller. Thanks for calling in today.
Hey, it's good to talk to you guys. This organization's put together about as well as my hair.
I was going to say,
now.
Did you pull it out tonight?
It is glorious. I mean, it's way better than Grant's for sure.
Look at this. Look at that.
Yes, it is.
It's something. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah. But I'll be quick. I'll let everybody get out of here. But I mean, we've got media members that are out there right now saying that it was a pleasure, that Monty McNair was a total pro and it was a pleasure to work with him. I mean, what other GM in the league right now is firing their head coach and then taking the next 6 weeks off, not talking to the fans, not talking to the media, just, put their head in the sand like nothing ever happened? Like, what was that? That was absolute joke. And that we have media that covers this team out there saying, "Oh yeah, no, he was a total pro." I mean,
first of all,
and maybe you guys have a different take on that, but there's no way.
A close relationship that you develop when you cover a team and front office personnel and coaches. So there's an emotional part of it that goes into it. Also,
the best thing you can say is nothing at that point.
Yeah, but you also have to understand, if you read between the lines, and I haven't seen any of the reports, so I'll take your word for it. If you read between the lines and take a step back and think, you're like, gee, why is that going on? Because the people that cover the Kings know that any general manager, whether it be Vlade Divac or Monte McNair, are in a near impossible win situation because of the owner and the meddling and the interference and the stupidity. So this might also be the way of trying to make Monty feel better, saying, hey, we know you didn't have a chance. And it's their way of kind of siding and reading between the lines. So also think about that for a moment.
And it came out pretty clearly that Monty was not the one convening meetings to fire Mike Brown. It wasn't his decision to fire Mike Brown. If you read Sam Amick's...
Okay. But he said out of his mouth that it was him that fired him. Like, at some point you have to tell the owner
he fell
no.
on the sword.
Like,
he fell on the sword.
He fell on
That's
the
what
sword,
he did.
yeah. And that's really where I think his tenure ends. When you fall on that sword, it's not much more you can do.
But I'll get out of here. Last few quick points that I just want to. It has to be said on the last game of the season. TV announcers are terrible. I know they won't make a change, but I really hope something happens because I can't do it another season. The players, in my opinion, effort makes up at least 70% of what those guys do on the court, and they were just low effort all year. It was hard to watch. And then the last thing, and I think I've got something here. We, as fans, need to figure out how to put some money together. We need to go the Happy Gilmore road here. We need to do it just like Shooter McGavin. We need to go find a professional heckler to sit right behind Vivek all season next year and just yell at him until he sells the team. So that's the plan.
Somewhere. A couple of days ago on my show, we said what you do is you fill up Kings Row with just all the B and C list celebrities that you can find.
Yeah, I was there.
You let him just emulge himself in that. He will forget he's at a basketball game. He will take that party somewhere else, and before you know it, we're off to the races, baby.
And you hand all of those people, custom-made All Lives Matter T-shirts, so they can wear those on the front row as well.
Yes,
I'm in. I'm so in on that. I love the idea.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man. Hey, love your hair.
Yeah, have a good one. Thank you, guys.
Man. Take care of that dude.
See, I guarantee, Grant, I'm going to stay up another 15 minutes tonight thinking about how Jeff makes that hair work.
I love
on
it.
a daily basis.
Oh, I love it.
That was something
don't forget about Connor at Element Mortgage. If you are in the market to buy a home, sell a home, if you're a real estate agent, you're looking for someone with a lot of experience that is great with his clients, closes deals. You know, he has a team behind him with over 100 years of experience. I can guarantee he's not doing well tonight because he is a diehard Kings fan. Local product, 916-505-1006. He knows the Sacramento housing market inside out. You can trust him. His experience is great. Get in touch with Connor at Element Mortgage, 916-505-1006, or the QR code right there will get you all the information on Connor and how to contact him. That's Connor with Element Mortgage. Great to have him join us here this season and talking about him. And it's been great to talk about the Kings. And I just am not surprised by what I saw tonight. 24 hours ago when I did my show, I said, you know, if the Kings win by 20, I wouldn't be surprised. And if they lose by 20, I wouldn't be surprised. And that's what happened tonight. You know, they lost by whatever it was, but the game was over before halftime. This was so disappointing. And the news that Monte McNair is out. The official words were mutually parted ways. What's going to happen next? Who's going to be the next general manager of the Sacramento Kings? Stay tuned because there's a lot of news that's going to be coming out of Sacramento, and we will have it covered. I'm going to do a show tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I'll go as long as you all want tomorrow. So Ryno's got his show in the afternoon. I'll do my show in the evening at 8 o'clock. Ryno, you always have an open invitation anytime you want on my show.
Appreciate it.
But I'll be here at 8 o'clock, and by then we might have some more news to discuss.
And by the way, if anything breaks in between then, like something happens before one of our shows is supposed to start, somebody will be here. We will be here as we always are. Let's get to one more call.
Yes,
last one of the night. Nathaniel, you made it in.
Hello, guys.
What do you think? Hey, Nathaniel, go ahead.
Hey, I've been a Kings fan since 2005, 2006, and I'm 27. I like what you've been doing with the Kings. What do you think going to happen this offseason? Who do you think going to be the new GM and maybe the new head coach of the Kings?
I would love to be able to give you an answer, but no one right now would be able to answer that question with any certainty, in my opinion.
Yes. I hope we get somebody. I hope the GM, I hope somebody could come in, do something the next offseason because we just looking horrible, the whole team. Somebody needs to step in and do something.
Just remember, before Mike Brown was hired, who did Vivek Ranadive want as head coach?
Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson.
Yes.
There you go. Nathaniel, we appreciate you calling, and thank you so much for being a fan of the show and watching. Call again, okay?
Okay.
All right. Appreciate you. I just want to say a couple of things to the 2,258 of you that have checked in at some point, that have been here for a game, or all 82 that might be watching on replay. Thank you. It has been a pleasure and a privilege to get to come into your homes, come into your cars, whatever it may be, and talk about Kings basketball with you. And to you, partner, I guess I need to look this way. To you, partner, this is the third season of doing games with you. I never thought I would do a game with you, and I can't thank you enough and tell you how much fun it has been, and just how great you are and how much you mean to me and this city and this fan base.
Well, I appreciate that. It's been a pleasure to see you grow and develop and have your own brand. And you're killing it during the days on the King's Court and here on these shows. And the fact that, if I miss a show, you're able to go solo and it's not an issue. It's like a piece of cake for you. I don't think you could have done that 3 years ago, but you can do it now with a blindfold on. So we're not going anywhere. We're just starting. We're still in the infancy of our channel. We continue to grow due to our great audience, and we're going to continue to grow. And we'll be here again next season, but we're going to be here tomorrow and the day after. And we're going to be doing all kinds of shows with different content. And I just want to say to you, Ryan, thank you. And to our loyal fans, both ones that we get in with it. And you know what I mean? We argue, we debate. I get upset. You get upset. I love you, man, because you're passionate. And there was a super chat earlier that the brand of the Kings are their fans. That's probably the best, most truthful message I've seen on the chat line since we started doing this show. The brand of the Kings are their fans. That's it. Plain and simple. We always ask, what's the brand of the Kings? They're great fans. And everyone in the league knows that. The fans. The best. The best. The freaking best. Appreciate all of you. The Kings Court tomorrow with Ryno. I'll do a show tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your time with us. What a disastrous, failed season. Where do they go from here? We'll be discussing it for a lot of days coming up in the near future. Thank you. You're the freaking best with a capital B, the best. I don't need to say anything else. You are the best. Thank you. Bye-bye now.